So this is a game we were sent by a gentleman called Aidan Ellero. Great surname, which is obviously the name of his publishing company, Ellero. It is called 1 to 10. It is aged for ages 7+, 2 to 5 players. There's 84 cards in here, and this game lasts about 5 to 10 minutes. Now, this is a, what do you call it? Maybe a first draft of this game. So this is the final package and this is the final product. But I know personally, having had emails with Aidan, that he is open to suggestions, ideas, and I have given him some. It's not perfect in terms of presentation and quality of the product, but the gameplay is absolutely awesome and my kids love this. We've had this for a couple of weeks. We must have played it about 10 times. So I'm going to go through and show you how this game works with two imaginary children here. So let's get to it. One of the first objections I did say is this box isn't particularly great. It's not easy to open, and it's actually quite easy to damage, although I haven't done so yet. So that's one issue. You've got in here the 84 cards. These are the cards. I'll show you what they all mean in a minute. And then you get an instruction manual. The instruction manual is relatively easy. There's lots of examples of how certain cards work on the back here. And then there's an overview of the rules on this side as well. So I'm going to show you how all this works. Probably my second objection to this game is, look, I come from a marketing background. I've worked with designers for the past 20 years. So I am absolutely picky as all hell when it comes to design, even though I'm not a designer myself. I'm one of those worst people in the sense that I have a sense of design, but I'm not a designer. And I think from an artwork perspective, this could be better on the front and on the back. But that said, as I said, the gameplay here is awesome. And probably my last gripe, because let's get all the gripes out of the way, is the cards are not that easy to deal. There are cards I've had in packs where it's a lot easier to deal. This one is just a little bit awkward. The objective of this game is to get a grid from 1 to 10. Okay, so that is the finished grid. That, if you get that, you've won. Okay? Everybody starts with a round with their cards. Of course, I've dealt them all upside down, which is going to be annoying. But let's not worry about that. Oh, that was the one I turned around was the one I shouldn't have turned around. I'll do a second player up here, just so you can understand how it works. So you start with the grid like that. Now, of course, you don't know what's under any of these. You start off basically with that in the middle. You pick the first one off the top. Now this is a 6, so immediately what you do is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You put that there and you flip this one over. Now this has a certain meaning. This is the swap and steal card. I'm going to have to just refer back to these because whilst I have played it 10 times, I don't always remember exactly what all the cards do. This is the swap and steal card. This early on the game, this is fairly kind of pointless. What you would normally be able to do is replace and steal any card from another player's grid. You may instead replace any type of card in your grid as well. So what I'm going to do is what I don't really want is I don't want this in my grid. So I'm just going to take that one from the other person's grid and I'm going to get a 4. And then what I do is then I still carry on. It's still my go. So I replace that 4 with that. I replace that 2 with that. I replace that 5 with that. I replace that 7 with that. I replace that 3 with that. And now I've got another 3. Okay, so my turn effectively has come to an end because I've got a double up here. I throw that back in the middle and this player is going to go next. So this player gets to now draw a card off the top. And this player's now got a 5. So this player does that. And this player's got a wild card. So a wild card means this can act as any number you like. Now I could replace this because I've got to get rid of this by the end of the game, but it's not going to allow me to turn any over. So I'm going to replace that one. So I go 2 there. The 7 will be there. Now, I've got one of these. So this player over here has drawn a swap and steal card. So he's going to swap and steal this person's 3. And this 3 now goes up there. And he gets an 8. Now again, he's got a double card, so that's his turn over. And that goes on there. And then this turn player now has a go. Draw a card off the top. There we go, 1. But I've immediately got another 1 underneath that 1. So that 1 is going to be there, and now it goes back to this player. So you can see this goes backwards and forwards, but as you get less cards, obviously the cards that you're drawing off here, it becomes harder and harder to make a match. So for example, here 5, my turn's over. This one. So in here you've got some other cards. Draw 2 is good because whilst you throw that back in there, I get to draw 2 cards this time. But of course, there you go. 6 and a 2, completely useless to me. So it goes backwards and forwards until somebody has got their grid. Let's just assume this person has completed their grid. There's another. So this one is the switch cards. Allows you to switch positions of any 2 cards on the table. But let's say somebody has finally got their grid together. There's a white. There we go. There's a 9. Give that person a wild card there. Give that person an 8. So I've now got a full 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The game is called 1 to 10. That's the point of the game. So I've completed my grid now. That doesn't win you the game. What you have to do now is the other players that are with you get one last chance to basically mess up your grid. So let's say, for example, this player here draws one of these again. In their last turn, they could swap the 1. We won't do that one for the minute. But now this grid is incomplete. This grid now needs a 1 here. This does not count as a 1. Again, the game continues until you get a complete grid. Now, these games can be over in, a few short minutes, or it can go on, and even with 3 players that we've played, you can almost use up the whole stack here, all 84 cards, just by the luck of the draw, and lots of people get repeat cards and it can become quite frustrating. You can take cards from people, you can do this one. So this one here is the recycle. It gives you the ability to access any one of the cards from the discard pile. So again, later on in the game, those cards are really useful to have. And the wild cards we've spoken about. This one allows you to look underneath all the cards that have not been turned over, pick which one you want to turn over. So that's a little bit of a cheat card, as we spoke about that one. So this is, I have to say, again, I said right at the start, this is a super easy game to pick up. And for the kids, and my 2 are, as I say, 7 and 10, this is one of their staples now. They want to play this all the time. The gameplay is super easy. Again, I'm not going to bitch about the things that I think could be improved. I'm sure Aiden's aware of that. There we go, look, 5 and 8, yeah, doubles. So there we go. But this is the game, 1 to 10. Get yourself a copy of this. It is a lot of fun. 2 to 5 players, so family game. It's perfect for that. And again, it's as you see, it's pretty easy to set up and deal straight away. This is something that you can play with the kids, I think, before bedtime, after meals, something. Play 2 or 3 rounds of this. Get the family together. It doesn't have to sort of eat into any other time that they've got allocated. I think it's just something that's simple to get out and play, a couple of times a week and bring the family together.